diaphragm. Layer 2 is a bit of a mix between an ab and a torso muscle, because it connects both. It is the hip flexors that I'm talking about. Yes, the psoas. I like this one because it goes so deep. It is an abdominal muscle, but it starts at the front of your spine. So if you see where my top is, I've worn different colors today. It's in the black area. So here, where the upper spine level meets the lower. There on the inside, there's two long muscles. It's groups of muscles actually on each side. They run parallel from the front of your spine, diagonally through your body, and then they cross the top of your pelvis and connect to the inside of the legs. So these wrap around inside, and that makes them very, very powerful for movement. And if they get tight, stuck long or stuck short, they might limit you in ways that you don't even feel. However, because they are so deep, it can be tricky to get them to move or to connect to them. For this, you need tricks. And one of the tricks you can use is gravity. So to feel them, imagine your leg is a boot and you pull this boot into your body. And as I said, because it's a diagonal line, I imagine pulling my leg into my pelvis and the line goes here. So try this. This is a bit tricky. The other exercises will be more known, but if you follow the line of my arm, so from the front of my leg to the back of my spine, hi Linda, welcome to the geekery of abs. If you pull your leg in that way, so it's not straight up, it's not straight back, it's diagonally in, diagonally in. You use this tiny movement for the jewels also. Try it on the other side. I'm pulling my leg in. My pelvis reacts, but I try to really contract and gather this, like elastic that shortens. Other side the same. Hi Blanca, can you feel this? Those people who are doing this, can you feel this after a couple of times? A kind of activation here. You can also use your hands, by the way. So I find my pelvic bone, the top of my pelvis. I walk in 2 steps and then I walk down to the edge of my leggings. And right where the hip bone meets the inside, there's another layer of abs on top of it, so it might not be easy to feel. I go straight in and I pull this leg up. It's very subtle. You might not feel anything, but I have another exercise to try. So that's one way to load it. Other muscles are working with it, but it will co-contract. Another thing that helps is lifting your knee. Hold something for balance. Press against it and push your knee up. So I'm pressing with my hands down, I'm pressing with my knee up, I'm giving it resistance, but in a static kind of way. Yes, it can be that the muscles that are stronger, and for many people those glutes are very strong, work more. It might be that it co-contracts. Think more of the front in. Maybe that will help, maybe that will help. Or try this one, pressing with your hands and pressing with the leg against it. If you don't feel it, you might need a relaxation first, and this often happens for deeper muscles. They get tight, either long or short, and don't want to move anymore until you give them peace. And giving your hip flexors peace is a matter of biomechanics. Use a block if you have it, or just use the positions. So what I like to do to relax my hip flexors, and after that my movements are a bit more free and juicy, is lay on my back. That's why we need the mat. And if you want, you can elevate your hips. But for most people, it's more comfortable not to do it. I don't usually do it. You can use a block under the head though, or a little towel. I'll do like this because I can talk easier like this. And simply lying like this, laying down like this, with the legs bent, will get your hip flexors in a half contracted position, but in a comfortable one. And staying like this, your back is supported, so your back can be long, but it's not limited by the shortness or the tightness of your hip flexor. If you have trouble with a sway back, a pelvis that tilts back, and you get a tight back muscle, it might also be the hip flexor that is kind of stuck and not moving. And giving it a couple of minutes per day, where your back is supported by the floor, you can wiggle away the rib cage and just letting your hip flexors be in a comfortable for them position so they don't go in a stretch resistance reflex. That might be enough to loosen them up. You can test it if you are tight by holding one knee, hold it like this so you can see it, and see if the other leg wants to come down. If it floats like this, it might be the hip flexor and it might be the quads, or a combination of both, that's holding you back. But if you hold this for a while and move your feet, and then push the heels away and point and push and point, and switch a couple of times. So first you test, you pull and you test. You see my foot is floating, maybe you don't see it, like this. And I move my feet. This already helps because it's activating and contracting across the whole front line. My foot kind of moves towards the floor if I flex and point, flex and point. So that's one thing you can do. Another is just have patience. Put a timer for 5 minutes, lay down, think about life, and you can creep your feet more and more away. And for me, this is the only way to really relax it. And afterwards, if I move, and if I do this again, I feel it more because it's no longer stressed. Hi Linda, hi Penny, welcome. Yes. If you can feel it, very good. If not, give it some time, give it a couple of goes. The hip flexors, obliques, work together with the other abs in a lot of dance movements. If you have the tilted hip circle, the OMI, there's one part here and one part here, the diagonal part where it helps. But in any movement where you move your legs, so for traveling steps, your hip flexors contract and lengthen to help your legs move. They also help it rotate out and they help it lift. So anything you do with your legs, they are connected to your back. And if you have trouble here, give them a bit of love, give them a bit of gentle time to relax, and then contract them, then dance with them.